All right, let's jump right in. So we've talked about how the very first batteries could create a spark, but they had this one huge fatal flaw. Once you used them, that was it. They were done. Today, we're going to get into the breakthroughs that changed literally everything. The stuff that turned batteries from a one-time magic trick into the rechargeable, unstoppable heart of our modern world.
Seriously, just think about that for a second. Your phone dies, and you have to go buy a new one. That sounds completely insane to us now, but that was the reality for the first batteries. They were totally disposable. So the first massive challenge wasn't about making them smaller or even more powerful. It was just about making them last. How in the world do you refill a battery with electricity?
Well, the answer came from a French physicist, a guy named Gaston Planté, way back in 1859. And what's cool is he wasn't just trying to make a slightly better battery. He stumbled upon a fundamental principle that would completely redefine what a battery could even be. He figured out a way to essentially turn back the clock on the chemical reaction inside.
Now this right here, this is the whole secret sauce. Planté's big idea was this: if a chemical reaction spits out electricity as it happens, maybe, just maybe, you could force electricity back in to run that chemical reaction in reverse. It's kind of like pushing water back up a waterfall to fill the lake at the top again. It's such a simple, elegant concept, and it is the foundation of every single rechargeable battery we have today. And if you want proof of how powerful his invention was, look no further than this. The lead-acid battery he created over 160 years ago, it's not some dusty old relic in a museum. It's the exact same basic technology that gives your car that massive jolt of power it needs to start every single morning. It is, without a doubt, the longest-lasting and most successful battery technology in all of history.
Okay, so problem number one, permanence, solved. But there was another huge issue holding batteries back. See, electricity was still pretty much trapped in the laboratory. To get it out into the world and into people's hands, you had to solve a very practical and frankly a very messy problem. That's right, the first batteries were literally just jars of acid, so you can imagine why you weren't finding these in your local general store. They were incredibly heavy, you couldn't dare to tip them on their side, and if one spilled, that was a serious, dangerous mess. They were completely impractical for pretty much anything that wasn't bolted to the floor.
The solution came from guys like Carl Gassner and Georges Leclanche, and their idea was pure genius. What if the electrolyte wasn't a sloshing liquid? By taking that liquid acid and turning it into a thick paste, and then putting the whole thing in a tough zinc can, they created the dry cell. And let me tell you, this was a total game changer. All of a sudden, you had a self-contained, spill-proof little package of power you could carry around in your hand.
And the effect was immediate and enormous. The dry cell didn't just make things better, it created entirely new industries. Portable flashlights? They were now possible for the very first time. The telephone and telegraph networks could suddenly expand into every single home because you no longer needed a maintenance chemist on staff just to handle all the dangerous liquid acid. This was electricity, finally unleashed from the lab.
So, with portable power officially a thing, one of the world's greatest inventors, the one and only Thomas Edison, he turned his brilliant mind to a truly massive challenge: getting rid of the horse and carriage and replacing it with something clean, quiet, and powered by a battery. To do this, Edison developed his nickel-iron battery. He knew that to power a whole car, a battery couldn't just be portable. It had to be unbelievably tough and hold a really serious charge. And his invention was exactly that. It was a rugged, powerful, absolute workhorse of a battery. So, if Edison's battery was so good, why aren't we all driving around in Edison electrics today? Well, it all boiled down to one crucial thing: cost. His nickel-iron battery was amazing, practically indestructible, but it was also super expensive to make. The good old internal combustion engine, on the other hand, was way cheaper. In the battle for the road, economics won, plain and simple. But here's the fascinating twist in the story. Edison's electric car dream might have stalled out, but his research was anything but a failure. In fact, his pioneering work with nickel chemistry became the direct ancestor of the nickel-cadmium and nickel metal hydride batteries, the ones that powered the camcorders, the portable CD players, and the first clunky mobile phones of the 80s and 90s. Okay, let's fast forward a bit to the 1950s. The world was going crazy for consumer gadgets, but the old carbon zinc dry cells just couldn't keep up. They died way too fast. What the world really needed was a brand new kind of battery for a brand new age of electronics. The breakthrough this time came from a Canadian chemical engineer named Louis Urey, who was working for the company Eveready. He made a really fundamental chemical switch.
He took the traditional acidic core of the dry cell and replaced it with an alkaline one. And that one change unlocked a completely new level of performance.
And when I say a new level, I am not exaggerating. Just look at this jump. We're not talking about a 10 or 20% improvement here. The new alkaline batteries lasted up to 10 times longer than the old carbon zinc batteries. This wasn't just an upgrade, it was a flat-out revolution in a little metal can.
This massive surge of power is what directly fueled the gadget age. Suddenly, you could have a TV you could actually carry to the park, a radio you could slip in your pocket, toys that could move and make noise for hours and hours, and of course, the icon itself, the Sony Walkman. It put a personal soundtrack to everyday life, and it was all thanks to the long-lasting power of alkaline batteries.
So, by the time we get to the 1980s, we'd come an incredible distance. We had rechargeable batteries starting our cars and powerful, disposable ones running our gadgets. But a new challenge was just starting to appear on the horizon. The next big dream, a personal computer, a device you could carry absolutely everywhere. It demanded a power source that was way lighter and way more powerful than anything that had ever come before. The technology of the past had finally hit a wall. To get to that next level, to power the smartphone that's probably in your pocket right now and the electric car you see on the street, it would take nothing less than a Nobel Prize-winning discovery and the lightest, most powerful metal on the entire periodic table. And that, well, that's a story for our next explainer.